You know, we live our entire lives on our computers, on our phones, on our laptops, but have you ever stopped to think about how much we can actually trust them? We're basically surrounded by these incredibly complex systems that we just hope are secure. Well, today, we're going to dive into the decades-long quest to build a computer that you can actually truly trust. And this quote, wow, it just gets right to the heart of the problem, doesn't it? This comes from security researchers who have spent their entire careers trying to solve this, and it sets the stage perfectly. What they're saying is, no matter how hard we try, building something that's completely bulletproof has turned out to be almost impossible. So that leads us to the big question, right? If the experts themselves are telling us that a perfectly secure system is pretty much a fantasy, then what do we do? How do we build any kind of foundation of trust in a digital world that's by its very nature so vulnerable? To even begin to answer that, we first have to understand why this is such a wicked puzzle to solve. And really, it's a story of promises made and promises broken. Just take a look back at Windows NT in the early 90s. It was hyped up as this massive leap forward in security. But the reality? It was a constant, never-ending stream of security flaws and patches. It's the perfect example of how even the best intentions just aren't enough when you're up against the sheer complexity of modern software. Bugs and vulnerabilities, they're pretty much inevitable. Okay, so if we can't build perfect software, what's the next best thing? Well, maybe we can build perfect rules. And this was the first huge attempt to solve the security puzzle, to create a formal, almost mathematical framework for controlling who sees what. And that brings us to something called the Bell-LaPadula model, or just BLP for short. It was cooked up back in the 70s for the US military, and it had one laser-focused goal: confidentiality. The whole problem was, how do you make absolutely sure that top-secret information never ever leaks to someone who only has a confidential clearance? The answer was to create a set of rules that were basically unbreakable. And here are those rules. The easiest way to think about it is like a government building with different security floors. The first rule, no read up, is just common sense. If you've got confidential clearance, you can't just wander up to the top secret floor and start reading files. Easy. But the second rule, no write down, that's the really clever one. It means someone with top secret access can't take that secret info and then write it into a confidential file on a lower floor. It's what stops secrets from leaking downwards, whether it's by accident or, because of some malicious code. Now here's a fantastic little piece of trivia about that second rule, the star property. Why the star? You'd think it had some complex mathematical reason, right? Nope. The truth is, the creators just couldn't come up with a good name for it. They stuck the asterisk in the draft as a placeholder, fully intending to replace it later, but they never got around to it, and the name just stuck. It's a great reminder that even in this super formal world of security models, it's all still very human. But here's the twist. The Bell-LaPadula model was so obsessed with keeping secrets in that it had this huge blind spot. It completely overlooked the opposite problem. How do you keep bad data out? So in solving the confidentiality problem, they actually created a brand new challenge, protecting data integrity. And this is where the Biba integrity model comes into play. You can think of it as the mirror image of Bell-LaPadula. Biba doesn't care about information leaking out. It's terrified of data getting corrupted or contaminated. The goal here is all about making sure that high-integrity data, like your critical system files, can't be messed with by some low-integrity source, like, say, a random program you downloaded from the internet. And this slide just lays it all out perfectly. You can see they're really just two sides of the same security coin. Where BLP says no read up to protect secrets, Biba says the complete opposite, no read down. A trusted process can't read untrusted data because it might get corrupted. And where BLP says no write down to stop leaks, Biba says no write up. An untrusted program can't modify a trusted system file. Each one solves a critical and sometimes conflicting part of the puzzle. So these formal models were a huge step forward. But at the end of the day, they're just abstract rules running in software. So the next question became, what if we could build trust directly into the physical machine, into the silicon itself? This is the modern approach, and it's all about moving security from pure theory to actual hardware. And I'd like you to meet the Trusted Platform Module, or TPM. This little thing is a dedicated microchip that's built right onto the motherboard of most modern computers. Its entire job is to be the ultimate source of trust for the whole system. It's a secure anchor that software just can't mess with. It creates and protects cryptographic keys, acting like a tiny hardware vault for your computer's most important secrets.
So what does this TPM chip actually do?
Well, it provides three really core services. First up is authenticated boot. When your computer starts, the TPM checks every single piece of software, from the lowest level firmware to your operating system, just to make sure nothing has been tampered with. Second, there's certification. The TPM can generate a unique, cryptographically signed report card of your system's exact setup, proving to other computers that it's in a known, good state. And third, encryption. It lets you encrypt your data so that it can only be unlocked by your specific computer, and only when it's in that trusted, verified state.
All right, so we have formal models for rules, and we have dedicated hardware for trust. But how does an actual customer, whether it's a huge government agency or just a big company, know if a product really meets these standards? We need some kind of standardized report card.
And that report card is called the Common Criteria. Think of it as an international standard that created a shared language for everybody to talk about security. It lets a buyer say, hey, I need a product that meets these exact security requirements, and it gives a vendor a clear, verifiable way to prove that their product does just that. Now, in the official language of the Common Criteria, the thing being tested, whether it's a firewall or an operating system, is called the Target of Evaluation, or just TOE for short. It's just the formal name for the product that's going through this whole rigorous security audit.
So the really crucial part is how these products get graded. The Common Criteria uses what are called Evaluation Assurance Levels, or EALs, on a scale from 1 to 7. EAL 1 is the most basic, pretty much just means we tested it and it works. EAL 4 is a really common level for commercial products, and it means that them has been methodically designed and reviewed. But by the time you get all the way up to EAL 7, you're talking about a system that has been formally, mathematically proven to be secure. This scale gives buyers real, tangible confidence in a product's security claims. So we've come a really long way, right? From abstract military rules to trusted hardware in nearly every computer, and even a global report card for security. But the journey is absolutely not over. In a world with rapidly evolving threats like adversarial AI and the dawn of quantum computing, the real question we have to ask is, are the foundations of trust we've built today going to be strong enough for the digital world of tomorrow?